Most people think starting a company in Papua New Guinea is slow, complicated, and only possible if you already understand legal systems or have expensive consultants. And because of that belief, they never even try. But here's the truth no one tells you. The process is actually structured, predictable, and once you understand the exact steps, you can legally register a company in Papua New Guinea much faster than expected. But here's the real problem. Most delays don't happen because the system is difficult. They happen because people choose the wrong structure or miss simple compliance steps at the beginning. So in this video, you are going to learn the complete step-by-step process to start a company in Papua New Guinea in 2026. And stay with me, because in a few minutes, I'll show you the one mistake that causes most applications to get delayed or rejected, without the applicant even realizing it. Now, let's begin from the foundation. Before you register anything in Papua New Guinea, you need to understand the business structures available. This is where most beginners make their first mistake, and that mistake can affect taxes, liability, banking approval, and how your business grows long-term. In Papua New Guinea, the most common business structures are sole proprietorships, partnerships, and companies limited by shares. Each structure serves a different purpose depending on your business goals. Let's simplify this. If someone like John in Port Moresby wants to open a small local trade store or service business, a sole proprietorship might be enough. It is simple, fast, and low cost. But here's the problem. There is no legal separation between personal and business assets. If the business goes into debt, John is personally responsible. Now imagine someone like Alex, who wants to build a consulting or import-export business serving international clients. In that case, a company limited by shares makes more sense because it separates personal liability from business risk and adds credibility when dealing with banks and partners. Now here's where it gets interesting. In a minute, I'll show you how choosing the wrong structure can quietly block your ability to open a business bank account, even if your company is fully registered. Now let's move to the first official step. Step 1 is choosing and reserving your company name. In Papua New Guinea, company registration is handled by the Investment Promotion Authority, often called the IPA.I. Your company name must be unique and cannot be identical or too similar to an existing registered business. So the process starts with a name search. You submit your proposed name, and the registry checks availability. If approved, the name is reserved while you complete incorporation. Now here's a mistake many beginners make. They rush this step and choose names without thinking about branding or long-term business credibility. For example, a name that sounds fine locally might not build trust with international clients or banks later. And here's a retention moment for you. In a few minutes, I'll show you how your company name can influence bank approval and even contract opportunities with foreign clients. Now once your name is reserved, you move to incorporation. This is where your business becomes a legal entity. To incorporate a company in Papua New Guinea, you need to prepare official documents. These typically include a memorandum and articles of association, details of directors and shareholders, a registered office address, and your share structure. Let's break that down simply. Your memorandum and articles define how your company operates. It includes your business purpose, governance rules, and internal structure. Your directors are the people responsible for managing the company. In small businesses, this is often just the founder. Your shareholders are the owners of the company. If you own everything, you are the sole shareholder. Your registered office is the official legal address in Papua New Guinea, where government communication is sent. Now here's where most people struggle. They think incorporation is extremely complex or expensive. But in reality, most company registrations follow standard legal formats. The real challenge is accuracy and consistency. But here's the catch. Even small errors like incorrect names, missing identification documents, or mismatched addresses can delay approval significantly. And this is where many applicants lose time without realizing it. The system is not difficult. It is detail-sensitive. Now let's move forward. In Papua New Guinea, company incorporation is done through the Investment Promotion Authority, and in some cases you may need additional approvals depending on your sector. Now here's where it gets interesting. Many beginners assume they can skip professional guidance to save money. But incorrect filings often lead to rejection or resubmission, which takes more time and cost in the long run. So accuracy is more important than speed. Now once your documents are ready, they are submitted to the IPA for review. If everything is correct, your company is approved, and you receive your certificate of incorporation. This is the official legal proof that your company exists in Papua New Guinea. Now, pause here for a second because this is important. At this stage, many people think they are ready to start operations immediately. But they are missing critical steps required for banking, tax registration, and compliance. And in a moment, I'll show you what happens if you try to open a bank account without completing those steps properly. Now let's talk about taxation. In Papua New Guinea, companies must register with the Internal Revenue Commission. This gives you a tax identification number, which is required for all business operations. Corporate tax applies depending on your business type and income. If your business reaches certain thresholds, you may also need to register for goods and services tax, often called GST. Now here's where beginners get confused. They think tax registration can wait until the business grows. But in reality, tax registration is required early in the business life cycle once you start trading. So timing matters a lot here. Now let's add another layer. If you plan to hire employees in Papua New Guinea, you must register with the relevant labor and superannuation authorities to comply with employee benefit requirements. Now here's a curiosity loop. In a few minutes, I'll show you how skipping employee registration can create legal and financial problems, even if you only hire one part-time worker. Now let's talk about something very practical. Your business bank account. Once your company is incorporated, you need a corporate bank account to operate professionally. Banks will require incorporation documents, tax registration details, identification of directors and shareholders, and proof of business activity. Now here's the problem many entrepreneurs face. They assume registration guarantees bank approval. But banks operate under strict compliance rules. If your business model is unclear or documentation is inconsistent, your application can be delayed or rejected. Let's make this real. Imagine Alex opens an import-export company in Papua New Guinea. If Alex cannot clearly explain where goods are sourced, how payments are processed, and who the clients are, the bank may hesitate. So clarity is more important than complexity. Now let's move into licensing. Depending on your business type, additional permits may be required. For example, businesses in mining, telecommunications, import-export, finance or tourism may require extra approvals from government agencies. Papua New Guinea has a resource-driven economy, so regulatory requirements can be stricter in certain sectors. Now here's where things become long-term. After incorporation, your company must remain compliant. This includes annual returns, maintaining updated records, and reporting any changes in directors or shareholders. If you fail to comply, your company can be deregistered. And restoring it later is often more expensive and time-consuming than maintaining it properly from the beginning. So consistency matters more than speed. Now let's talk about timeline and cost. Company registration in Papua New Guinea can take time depending on document accuracy and government processing. If everything is correct, the process is smooth. But errors can create delays due to corrections and resubmissions. Costs vary depending on structure, professional assistance, and regulatory requirements. But here's the key insight most people miss. The biggest factor affecting speed is not the government. It is preparation quality and document accuracy. Now let's cover common mistakes. One major mistake is choosing a structure without thinking about banking requirements. Another is submitting incomplete or inconsistent documents. Another is ignoring tax registration after incorporation. And another big one is assuming registration automatically means you are ready to operate. And here's the mistake I promised earlier. Many entrepreneurs successfully register their company, but fail at the banking stage because they cannot clearly explain their business model or provide consistent documentation. Even a legally registered company can struggle if it does not pass compliance checks. So registration is only the beginning. Now let's bring everything together. To start a company in Papua New Guinea, you begin by selecting the right structure. Then you reserve your company name through the IPA. After that, you prepare incorporation documents and submit them for approval. Once approved, you receive your certificate of incorporation. Then you register with the Internal Revenue Commission for tax purposes, register for GST if applicable, open a business bank account with complete documentation, apply for any required industry licenses, and maintain ongoing compliance through annual filings and record keeping. That is the complete legal roadmap. And here is the most important takeaway. Starting a company is not just about registration. It is about building a structure that supports banking, compliance, and long-term business growth. If you understand the process early, you avoid delays, banking issues, and legal complications later. And now you have a complete step-by-step guide to starting a company in Papua New Guinea in 2026 with clarity and confidence. If you found this useful, like the video. Leave a comment about what type of business you are planning to start, and subscribe because in the next guide, I'll show you how to get your first clients fast even if you are starting from zero.